Good morning on this holiday weekend. I want to thank all of you for spending part of your holiday with us. The challenge we have here every week is to know that it's good enough to be true and act as if it's good enough to be true. How many have allowed yourself to move from hope it's true to know it's true? Okay. That's a very interesting process because it is a quantum leap in understanding. We talk about quite often here the realization that there are a lot of people who know about this. There are a few people who know as it knows. How many know the difference in knowing about success and being success in action? Knowing about love and being love in action. You see, as Dr. Ernest Holmes pointed out, our challenge is to move from the faith in God to the faith of God. To operate, I'm speaking in Chicago at our gathering, our summer conference we're having in Chicago. My topic there is going to be critical thinking from oneness. You see, a lot of people, when they find a teaching like this, and it takes a while, because most people enter this teaching, the science of mind, religious science, from the consciousness of self-motivation. They are here, they want to be over there, and they're trying to shove themselves across the line. The challenge is to know it's good enough to be true when. Everybody say with me, now. You see, now is what we're dealing with. Not off in the sky by and by when we die, it's here and now. If we're immortal, then this is our moment in immortality we are responsible for. And our challenge is to do what? To wake up to the truth of ourselves and then give to what is outside of us the best we know how to give. Knowing that it's good enough to be true and knowing that it will return to us pressed down and overflowing. In my book, The Power of Positive Purpose, on page 121, I'm talking about everyone is a winner. And in it, I'm quoting myself, the greatness of God is everything. As we become aware of this truth, we understand very clearly that everyone is a winner. Everyone. Many times I have people come in and they are requesting treatment for relationships. And what we always deal with in that area is to wake them up to the realization that they are a prize. Let's put it in first person this morning. Everybody say, I am a prize. Anybody has me in their lives, the most fortunate person on the planet. How many know that's true? Oh, you got it? One. Okay, right. How many know that's true? Now, if you know it's true, here's what you got to do. Recognize who's in your life all the time. You are. You are a prize. Be a prize to yourself. Be a prize to yourself and wake up to the great reality of you. Wonderful thing about it, I was just sharing before the service, I have not missed a Creative Thought magazine in 35 years. I have been in every issue. I think the first conversation that Reverend Dr. Cynthia, who is now Reverend Dr. Cynthia Neale, before she was Reverend Dr. Cynthia Neale, she was Dr. Cynthia Cavalcanti. She was the youth director in Redondo Beach with Frank Richelieu, and she was editor of the Creative Thought magazine. When she became editor, I called her and I said, I have never missed an issue, I don't intend to. And she said, yes, sir. I wish I'd recorded that. No, she doesn't call me sir anymore. Anyhow. In the treatment I have, and I love this, every Sunday I usually write a treatment for you, and then I send it in, I give it to, it's easy to give it to Creative Thought magazine, I just walk by and hand it to her, but it's since she's the editor, here, print this one. Anyhow, and then she edits it, but anyhow, you're getting this before it's edited, so this is mine I wrote yesterday, but I'm quoting Professor Ralph Tyler Fleawilly, one of the great early metaphysical minds and wonderful teacher. He said, understanding and power lie in the relationship of our spirits to the eternal creative spirit, which is but another name for the living God. the eternal creative spirit that is forever creating what you give it to create. And this is why we've been given all the power there is. It created us out of itself and then left us alone to discover we have it. How many heard Brent Waters this morning on God Talk? If you do not listen to this program, I recommend it to you every Sunday morning. KGO, you turn it on and get yourself some education. This man is just incredible, and he's got to be a closet metaphysician. I know, but his clarity this morning was just absolutely wonderful, where he was talking about the realization of not necessarily what the Bible stories are talking about, but what are they pointing to? You know, the Zen Buddhists say when the finger points to the moon, don't confuse the finger with the moon. I love the realization of the work, and I thank you for doing Jonathan Livingston Seagull. It's one of my favorite. I was going back as you were singing that. As you know, before I became a minister, I was in the entertainment industry, and I was working on Papillon at Golden Studios when they were doing Jonathan Livingston Seagull next door. And I knew Richard Bach, Marcus Bach, was one of my teachers and friends. How many go back far enough and remember when Marcus Bach used to come here and teach for us? Anyhow, in the story of Jonathan Livingston Seagull, the old wise seagull was Marcus Bach. Jonathan was Richard. And it was his walk with his uncle is what the story was about. He just put it in the terms of a seagull. And there's a wonderful part in there where the seagull, Jonathan, is trying to discover perfect speed. And he asked the old wise seagull, you know, when will I find perfect speed? And he said, well, Jonathan, he said, you may have to live 100 lives, maybe 1,000, before you even get the idea that there's more to life than the fighting of the flock and you know, and the power of the flock and all of that stuff. He pointed out then that he said, finding perfect speed, my son, is not flying 100 miles an hour, 1,000, a million, the speed of light. He said, perfect speed is just being there. That's perfect speed. Everybody say perfect speed. That's really the key to what we're talking about this morning, perfect speed. Metaphysically, we know that this truth is right where we are. I'm going to share something with you today because it is Memorial Day. And it means more than a barbecue in the backyard or missing church on Sunday. Memorial Day is very, very important to all of us. I think I've shared this before, but I will share it again. In World War II, my uncle, his name was Buddy Shoulders, and he was a radio man on the USS New Orleans. And it got torpedoed in Guadalcanal, and it hit right where he was, and they lost him at sea. So I lost my uncle in that. I was very young at the time, so I don't really remember him, but they started calling me Bud after that. Years passed, and I joined the Navy, and the submarine that I served on, I spent 4 years in submarine service, was tied up, or we were in Philadelphia in yard overhaul. And they had a lot of ships in mothballs, and one day I didn't have anything to do, and so I'm walking out where all the ships were tied up, all the mothball ships, and these are ones that they were ready to dismantle and do all this, and I was walking along, and all of a sudden I looked over, and there was the USS New Orleans.